Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. I'm really excited about today's video. This is going to be my makeup inventory for January 2021. However, what I really want to address before getting into the inventory, because I know some of you are going to comment about it, is my hair. I do have a little situation going on with my hair. So I have been blonde for a really long time, and the only hair color where I have felt like me is platinum blonde. However, I last year was starting to get these feelings and thoughts that maybe it's time to move on and try something a little bit more natural. I actually got my roots done last fall with darker color and I really liked how it looked. However, I got my hair done a week ago and now it is actually darker what it used to be. It's now quite close to what my natural hair color would be and I hate how it looks. This is not the hairdresser's fault. I mean, she did what I asked, but you know, I wanted to try something a little bit more natural, something a little bit more darker, just to realize that I want to go back to blonde as soon as possible. I don't feel like myself when watching in the mirror. I don't think this hair color looks good on me at all. But you will be seeing me in a hair like this in the couple of the next videos, but hopefully soon I will be back to blonde. So this is going to be my makeup inventory for January 2021 and I'm going to let you know how many products I have in each category, and I will be comparing the number to a year ago. I will say I did also like a makeup inventory mid-year check-in in July, but I don't have those numbers with me right now. And to be honest, in summer I did have kind of like a weak moment and I was wanting to like grow my makeup collection again, when now I'm back to wanting to, if not minimize, to keep my collection really curated and only own things that I love. And a little disclaimer before getting into the numbers, I'm not shaming anyone who wants to have like a large makeup collection. I actually really much enjoy watching other people having large makeup collection. However, I'm just someone who gets really overwhelmed if I do have a lot of products. So I want to keep my collection really curated. I also don't want my makeup collection to take too much space. So a year ago when we moved to this house, I actually bought the Malm vanity from IKEA, which is a one-drawer vanity, and I love it. I store almost all of my makeup there, with the exception of having my eyeshadow palettes visible on a different shelf, as well as my lipsticks and lip glosses, but everything else is in the one-drawer vanity and I really do want to keep it like that. And perhaps in future I want to have even smaller space to my makeup. But yeah, even though I often talk about how I want to have a more curated collection and that I don't want to have that much stuff and I don't enjoy buying makeup that much, even though it has been a problem for me, it still kinda is. That's why I am on a low buy. I'm not judging anyone who wants to have a larger selection or who actually collects makeup, so yeah. Just putting it out there, but let's get into these numbers. This has been such a long intro. Let's start with primers. I do have at the moment 4 primers in my collection and I do have one coming in the mail, so the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. So technically I do have 5 primers. Something new for this year that I did is that instead of having just a goal number, I do have a goal number that would be, in ideal world, what I would have if I found my holy grails. And then I do have a maximum number, so that is kind of like a more realistic number that allows me to have backups and that allows me to, for example, have foundations in my summer shades if I'm not able to go through them, like I'm usually not. Right now I do have foundations from last summer. And also I feel this maximum number allows me to try new things. For example, the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I want to know if it is actually good because so many people love it. Yeah, that's why I will have like goal number and maximum number. I will try to get to the goal number, but the maximum allows me to have some playroom. So with primers my goal would be 3. If I had a perfect hydrating primer, which I got to say the First Aid Beauty one is, so right now I'm leaning towards keeping repurchasing that, then I would want to have like pore filling one, and then I would want to have like mattifying primer that actually works. still haven't been able to find that, but those 3 would be like the ideal 3, and that's the goal. But I'm allowed to have 5. However, if I am at the maximum, like I am right now, if we count the e.l.f. primer that is coming, I cannot purchase more primer before I have used up one of these old ones. So foundations, I do have at the moment 6 in my collection. As you can see, I do have a couple of the same Catrice foundations, but one of those is actually in my summer shade that I wasn't able to finish last summer, as I mentioned. Also, the Catrice Liquid Radiance foundation is from last summer. Actually, I bought it over a year ago. I think that is the only foundation that I have had over a year, so I really want to use it up. With complexion products, especially with foundations and with primers, I don't want to have things that are much older than a year, because in the past I have had foundations and primers expiring and breaking me out. And my skin is like way too valuable for me to use up products that are expired, and I don't want to waste my money and not use my products. So that is the biggest reason why I do want to keep my complexion product categories really curated. So yeah, I do have 6 foundations, 5 is the maximum. The goal for me would be to have 3 foundations. 1 full coverage foundation, that is the Catrice one. That's the only full coverage I love because that's actually lightweight. Then I would want to have 1 more natural foundation for everyday wear, and also 1 tinted moisturizer sort of product. So those 3 foundations are the only ones that I really feel I need and I would want to have open at once. However, I think it's quite unrealistic for me to get to this 3, because as I said, I'm not able to go through foundations necessarily within the season. They match me. So, you know, that's why I'm fine having a little bit more, but I do want to keep this collection still really curated. Then concealers, I do have 5 in my collection. As you can see, 3 of these 5 are the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo concealers. That is my favorite concealer to use under my eyes. And then I love the Revolution concealer to highlight my face with. And actually those 2 are the only ones I really feel I need into my collection. So 2 is my goal number. So 1 under eye concealer and 1 highlighting concealer. However, the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo concealer is really difficult for me to get, so I don't mind buying backups for it once in a while. I can only get it from 1 online store as far as I know, and that is located in the US, so I will rather just buy a couple at once so that I do have backup. By the way, I will say I like the Urban Decay concealer too. It reminds me quite a bit of the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo concealer, except it's not quite as hydrating and it's way more expensive. But I feel with concealer I have gotten to the place where I don't even want to test out new concealers. I don't care. I want to just buy the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo concealer and the Revolution concealer to highlight with. Powders I do have at the moment 4 in my collection. So I do have 1 like loose powder that is meant for baking. I don't like that. It's from Revolution. It's a lace baking powder. I have been working on it for so long, but finally it is almost gone. Then I do have 3 pressed powders. So a couple that are matte. The balm powder I only like to touch up. I don't like to set my face with it, but it's like the best powder for touch-ups. And then the Milani Prep Set Glow powder is like a beautiful setting powder with a little bit luminous finish to it. So with powders actually I just have like a maximum number of 5. I don't really know what the goal would be, because I feel I like to have like different powders, but at the same time I don't like powder compacts. I feel they take so much space. But what I can tell you right away that I feel is lacking from my collection is like a loose setting powder. I think it would be ideal to find like a setting powder that gives a matte finish but is so lightweight that I could actually also set my under eyes with it. But then what I have found that some setting powders do that they oxidize under eyes, so it could not do that. And then I would also want to have the Milani powder and the balm powder. But the maximum number is 5, but I will maybe set the goal number to be 3. Next is setting spray. I do have at the moment 4 in my collection. So I do have the Urban Decay All Nighter and Chill ones, and I do have backups for both of these. I do really love these setting sprays. I have tried so many other setting sprays and I have always been disappointed with everything. Like I have tried both high-end and drugstore, so I just keep repurchasing these Urban Decay ones, and goal is to have two, so the chill one and the all-nighter one. The chill is what I use like in everyday basis. It doesn't give a glow or anything, but it makes my face kind of like fresh looking, when the all-nighter one really like locks everything into place. Maximum here is now 3, so technically I am over my maximum. However, I really don't feel it's necessary for me to hoard backups for both of these at once, unless it is like a really good deal. But the thing is that setting spray bottles are quite big and they take a lot of space, and I really want to have less space for my makeup, as I said. So because of that, I don't think it's necessary to have backups for both of these, but only for the one that I'm, you know, lower on and running out sooner, especially since I don't use these usually at the same rate. The all-nighter one I mainly use if I'm filming or if I have a special occasion, or then in the summer, but the chill one is what I use on everyday basis. Let's move on to bronzers and contouring products. I do have 5 at the moment in my collection. So I do have 1 cream contour product, the NYX Wonder Stick, and then I do have 4 powder bronzers. Bronzer is another category where I really don't feel I want to have that much options, because I'm so picky with bronzers. I just want to find my holy grails and stick to those, and anyways, bronzer is something that it takes forever to go through. So my goal would be to have 3 bronzers. So 1 like contouring product, so the Balm Bahama Mama is what I love for that, and actually today I have used it as bronzer, so it works for that too. Then I would want to have like 1 winter bronzer, so something really light. Still haven't found holy grail for that. But then also I would want to have like a perfect summer bronzer that gives kind of like a glow. Actually the Too Faced bronzer is really good to that, even though I will say Too Faced is a brand that I don't support anymore, but that bronzer is amazing and I don't think I'm going to go through it like ever. But yeah, 3 is goal, and my maximum would be to have 5. When it comes to the cream contour, I actually would want to finish it up one day. I know I just bought the NYX Wonder Stick, but I have realized that I just don't love cream face products on me. I feel with my combo skin, powder works just as fine. Actually, I feel powder is easier to blend and it looks like just as good. I mean, yes, cream contour and cream blush, they can look really natural and beautiful, but I can get the same effect with powder if I'm using right products. So eventually I would want to finish the NYX Wonder Stick and other cream face products that I do have, but this year is not going to be it. This year I'm working on the Balm Bahama Mama because it's so old, I need to use it up and replace it. But maybe next year is the year when I will work on the NYX Wonder Stick. Then let's move on. There is a category that I didn't have last year in my collection actually at all, so cream blush. I actually used to have back in the days the Balm How About Them Apples palette and I really enjoyed it, but then I kind of realized that I prefer powder blushes. But then this year, because cream blushes were trendy, I decided to try it again and I bought the e.l.f. cream blush palette just to realize that I just don't love cream blush. So it's a little bit kind of like a similar story than with my hair. I know what I like, but still I want to try something else. And here we are, not liking the thing. So yeah, I do have 4 cream blushes in my collection. So I just count each pan as 1 blush to my inventory. So yeah, with cream blushes my goal is to have 0, but I'm not starting to work towards that quite yet. Let's move on to powder blush. This is a category that makes me really happy. I do have at the moment 11 powder blushes. So again, here I do have 1 blush palette where I count each pan to be 1 blush in the inventory. Then I do have like 7 individually packed blushes. One of them is actually a bronzer and blush duo, but I only use it as a blush. Like even the bronzer side, it's like a really beautiful kind of like orangey warm bronzy blush. Love it. I used it a ton in fall. But yeah, I'm really happy with my blush collection because it is so curated and it really only consists of things that I enjoy. I don't necessarily love every single shade in the Plus palette, but the palette in general I do love. And all of the individually packed blushes I love. and I really feel there's only a couple of things that I would like to add into my blush collection. And in fact, I am on a low buy this year, so blush is a category where I can only purchase 2 products this year, so of course that makes me really consider the purchases. I'm pretty sure I know the 2 that I will buy, but I'm not going to buy any blush or any extra makeup anytime soon because all of my money is going to a hairdresser for some reason. But yeah, I do have 11 blushes. I think goal would be to have 10. In ideal world, I think with 10 blushes I would still have so many different like color options and different finishes from matte to satin. But I have set the maximum in my blush collection to be 15, so we're not even close. And since I can only buy 2 blushes this year, we are not even going to get there this year, so I'm quite excited about that. But you know, ideally like 10 is what I feel I would be happy with. Let's move on to highlighters. I actually do have one liquid highlighter that is also something, or actually I did have one liquid highlighter last year too. It was just a different one. But yeah, liquid highlighter is something that I don't like to use on my face, but I got this one from the Big Box Advent Calendar. I will be panning it next summer. I will put it into a project pan and highlight my body with it. But goal is to have 0, definitely in this category. Let's move on to powder highlighter. Highlighter is an interesting category because I really do love highlighter, but I think highlighter is one of those things that in the end of the day there's not that many different things. Like the colors start all looking the same, like some are maybe a little bit more pinky, some are just like champagne. That is so popular color. I mean, every brand has their version of a champagne highlighter and they don't look that different. And then of course brands have like deeper, like bronzy highlighters. But yeah, highlighter totally is a category where I just feel I don't want to have too many products because they pretty much all look similar on cheeks. So that's why my highlighter goal is to have only 5 highlighters. I really do feel that if I had 5 highlighters, I would still have everything I need. So like one champagne, one like really basic like the Balm Mary Luminizer, one kind of like pinky highlighter, then one golden one peachy highlighter, and then one more kind of like cool toned. But I feel with those 5 I wouldn't need more options. Right now I do have 10 highlighters in my collection and that is actually the maximum. I don't want to have more than this because highlighter will take forever to go through. So I'm actually on a highlighter no buy this year. That's part of my low buy. Okay, so those were all of the face categories, so let's move into eyes and let's start with brows. I do have at the moment 5 brow products in my collection, so 3 brow pencils and 2 brow powders. My goal would be to have only 2. So one NYX Micro Brow Pencil, that is my favorite brow pencil, and then 1 brow powder. However, the maximum here is 3 because I always want to have a backup for my NYX Micro Brow because that is just a holy grail. And one thing I will say is that I actually do use eyeshadow as a brow powder, but I find that it can be a little bit difficult to find like a cooler toned brown eyeshadow that is light for the like inner part of my brows. So that's why I'm okay having a separate brow powder for that like lighter shade. But yeah, this is something where I do want to work on some of these products, and I actually do have the Pixie Pencil and the Essence Brow Duo in my theme project pan. Eyeshadow primers I do have 4, so I do have a couple from Urban Decay. The original eyeshadow primer potion is a deluxe sample that is almost gone, so once that is gone I am at my goal. So then I do have like a normal eyeshadow primer. The e.l.f. one is a glitter primer, it's really good. And then the NYX Jumbo Pencil I count to be just like eye primer. But yeah, my goal would be to have 3, so a white base or a skin tone base for really bright eyeshadows, then a glitter primer, and then of course like a normal eyeshadow primer. But I'm okay having 4 if I do have a backup for my normal primer. Okay, so eyeliners I do have at the moment 10 in my collection. So this is a category where I mean my maximum number is to have 10. So that allows me to have some options and some fun stuff and also some backups. But I still feel that I do have here things that are kind of like unnecessary and that I don't need. For example, I do have here a brown pencil eyeliner and also a backup, a full-size backup to that brown pencil eyeliner. I don't know when I have last lined my eyes with brown pencil eyeliner. Although I have thought that it might look cute on waterline to use brown instead of black. If I want to go for dark waterline, usually I like to go for light waterline. Also, I do have like 3 lighter waterline pencils right now. The Charlotte Tilbury one is almost gone, but then I do have 2 from BH Cosmetics, and I have realized that if I only have like the matte nude one, I'm fine. I don't need the shimmery pearl one, even though it's pretty. Then I do have here the Revolution Renaissance Flick eyeliner and a backup to that. I'm totally fine with that. And then I do have a couple of the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter eyeliners. I do actually have the silver today to cut my crease just a little bit. But yeah, I do have 10. I feel this is maybe a little bit excessive. I have set my goal to be 5. Oh yeah, and I do have there like a black waterline pencil. I don't even like black waterline on myself. Mascaras, I only do have 1. My goal is to have 1. I don't really need more than 1 mascara, especially since I do wear falsies quite a bit, so let's move on to there. I do have at the moment 3 packs of falsies, so instead of counting every individual pair, which would be like a nightmare, I just want to count these multi-packs because I always buy my lashes in these because it's more cost effective. So I do have 1 pack of the Ardell 1110s. They are extremely natural. I actually think I want to pan these lashes because they are so natural that it's kind of like the same thing than using nice mascara. Or I'm actually planning on taking a lash lift, so you know, I think the last lift will probably look pretty similar to these lashes. Then I do have a couple of packs for the Ardell Demi Wispies. Those I actually do love. They are my favorite lashes. My lash preference has changed a lot recently. Nowadays I don't anymore like really dramatic lashes. I feel they are heavier on my eyes, and since I do have smaller eyes, they don't look necessarily that great. I mean, they are almost like too overpowering for my face and my eyes. But the Ardell Demi Wispies I love because they are long and wispy and beautiful, and they make my eyes pop, but they're not too much. So I really feel that they are the only lashes that I do need. Let's move on to Lash Glue. I do have 2 in my collection. Goal is to have 1, so I don't need more. However, I'm totally fine having a backup because I don't want to be without lash glue ever. So the only one I use is the House of Lashes one. Actually, a year ago I didn't have any lash glue because I had lash extensions on, but they didn't work for me at all. So I only had them on for a month or not even a month, I'm not exactly sure. However, when I have been wearing lashes, and once I got back to lashes after the lash extensions, I also had the House of Lashes Black Lash Glue, but I have realized that I don't really need it. The clear one is everything I need, and it is a little bit more versatile than the black one, because this one I can actually wear without liner if I want to. Although usually I like to line my eyes when I wear lashes, but I just don't need the black one. The clear one is fine. Then let's move on to eyeshadow palettes. So really exciting. This is, I feel, everybody's favorite category. Mine is lipstick, but eyeshadow palettes is second. So eyeshadow palettes, I do have 17 in my collection at the moment. My goal number is 10. However, my maximum is 30, so we're not even close to my maximum, and we're not going to get there because this year I'm allowing myself to purchase only 4 eyeshadow palettes, or I could use a palette purchase to purchase singles from an indie brand if I want to. But even if I buy 4 palettes, we are still not going to get even close to 30. I think this is a way how I'm limiting the amounts I'm bringing in, and also really considering my purchase. I feel I just need to accept that even though I do really love the idea of minimalism, there are certain categories in makeup and in life in general where I feel that's not kind of like realistic for me, and where I probably will never reach that. And eyeshadow palettes, I feel, are one of those things. Like, yes, it would be kind of like cool to have only like 5 palettes or something like that, but I still like to buy them once in a while, and I do like to have different options. And now I'm actually really happy that I'm not only panning, but I'm actually also rotating through my collection in the Palette of the Month series, so I don't feel bad about having that many palettes. But I still don't want to have like enormous collection, so I feel 30 is what I could store in my current storage system. But this year we're not going to get even close to 30, as I said. In fact, I don't think we're going to get to 20, because actually I do think I'm going to declutter at least one palette. So the palette that is my palette of the month for this month, and then the Modern Renaissance one I don't want to see in my inventory next year, whether it is used up or not. It's just way too old at that point. And then also there are some palettes that I'm kind of like considering maybe depotting at some point. And by the way, if you want to hear more me talking about my eyeshadows, so the total amount of pans and all of that, I do film the separate eyeshadow inventory series, so I can link you the video to the latest one that I actually filmed just a couple of weeks ago. I think in that video I also talk about the progress that I have been making in my collection, so pans I have hit, my pan percentage and all of that. Loose eyeshadows I do have 20 in my collection. The goal would be to have 0, so I'm not going to buy a single loose eyeshadow anymore in my life, but these that I do have, I really do enjoy them and I want to wear them once in a while. Then pressed single eyeshadows I do have 68 in my collection. I think I have 11 pans from Makeup Geek and everything else is different depotted eyeshadows. I don't really know what my goal number would be, but the maximum number is 100. I think that's what I could store into my current palettes. So 100 like standard size eyeshadows. Of course, some of these that I have are smaller that are depotted and some are larger, but 100 is the maximum. I don't want to have more than that, and even that sounds like a lot, but I have set it to be my maximum. Then let's move on to lip products. So my favorite category, which is lipstick. I will say that last year I did my lip products a little bit differently. I had all of my lipsticks, so both liquid and bullet lipsticks, just as one lipstick category. So this year I do have it differently. I do have separate numbers for my bullet lipsticks and my liquid lipsticks, just because with liquid lipsticks I don't want to have those too much in my collection. So I think it makes sense like this right now at this point. Maybe I will change it later, we'll see. But lipsticks I do have 19, so these are all of the bullet lipsticks and also like lip crayons and other lipsticks that are like normal lipstick formula. It doesn't mean it's like a normal bullet, but the formula is your regular standard lipstick. So 19, one of these I do have twice, so the NYX Simply Vamp Lip Cream in Covet, because it got discontinued, so I bought a backup because I love it that much. My goal would be to have 20. I feel with 20 lipsticks I would have so many different options, but it still wouldn't be like too overwhelming and it still would allow me to go through things, but the absolute maximum is 30. This year I do have for lipsticks, because I am on a low buy, a system that I can buy one in every 2 months, so I can buy total 6 this year. So it means either a bullet lipstick, a liquid lipstick or a lip gloss. By the way, did I completely skip lip liner? Yes, I skipped lip liner, I'm sorry. Like, this is a long video to film and I'm starting to be tired. I do have at the moment 12 lip liners in my collection and my goal would be to have 8, but the maximum would be to have 10. Previously I have not had any goal or maximum numbers for lip liners because I thought that I only have lip liners that I need in my collection. However, that's really not the case. I just decluttered in fall few lip liners that were in colors that I don't have in my collection. So yeah, that's why I have now set the goal number and the maximum number. And actually in my lip liner collection, the red one that is almost gone, I do have a backup for that, so an exact same thing. 10 liquid lipsticks. As I said, I do want to have this separately as a category because these I don't want to have too many because usually I do prefer bullet lipstick. There are certain colors that are like bolder that I do prefer in completely matte formula, but for the most part I do prefer just normal standard lipstick. So I do have 6 liquid lipsticks in my collection. My goal would be to have 5, but the maximum is to have 10. And I actually do have the same numbers with lip glosses, so I do have 6 in my collection right now. The goal would be to have 5, but the maximum is 10. Actually, with lip gloss I'm way pickier with colors than with lipstick or liquid lipstick, just because I don't like at all lip glosses that are too bright or too dark. So with 5 lip glosses actually I should have like plenty of variety, but in case I want to buy a new lip gloss I do have the room to do so. So those were all of the makeup categories. I do still have a couple of extra categories that I do want to talk about. So nail polish, I do have at the moment 21, and I do have one coming in the mail. Actually I got a text message today that I can get my package from a post office. It is a nail polish from Barry M. If we count that nail polish, I do have 22 nail polishes. My goal would be to have 20 and the maximum would be to have 25. I cannot store more than 25 in my nail polish holder or container. It's not actually meant for nail polishes. However, I feel with 20 I would still have like so many options that I want to keep working on my nail polishes. 10 perfume. I do have actually 10 perfumes in my collection. My goal would be to have 10, not necessarily all of these 10. There are some that I do want to pan, but if I have 15 I'm okay with that, so that is the maximum. There is 3 perfumes that I do want to finish this year. 2 of them that I don't necessarily love that much. One that I do love, but it's starting to be older, so it's time to use it up. But perfume is another category that I am on a no-buy with. By the way, I forgot to say that with nail polishes I can buy 4 this year, so I used now my first of 4. Okay, but those were all of the numbers, how many I have in each category, but I still wanted to talk about the value of my makeup collection, or how much I have spent on all of this makeup. And I have actually used the price that I paid for the products, so I do keep track of my purchases. Of course, this does not include anything that I have used up. I do go through my products all the time, or this does not include products that I have decluttered. So a year ago, in January 2020, the cost of my makeup collection was 1,683 euros. Now it is 2,024 euros. So we have gone up with about 400 euros. And by the way, I'm not by any means like sharing this number with you to brag or anything. I just want to kind of like keep track in where we are going, what direction we are going. I don't think you should necessarily compare like your makeup collection total numbers to others, but I do want to, you know, keep track of this for myself and to see like in which direction we are going. Like now I can see that it is higher than it was a year ago, and I actually did say, I think in my last year's makeup inventory video that I filmed really soon after ending my no-buy, that I would like to get my makeup collection under 1,000. I don't think we are going that direction at least, but you know, I don't have like a goal number total where I would want to be, but you know, I do want to be mindful when buying new makeup, and I don't want to like have a makeup collection that is worth like thousands and thousands of euros, because I have said this previously. Once I spend the money on makeup, the money is gone, then I'm not going to make a single euro back on that, like not even here on YouTube at least yet, because I'm not monetized. But even if I was, the return of the money spent to that product would be so little, so I want to be really mindful about the money I spent to makeup. And as I said, I do want to have a curated collection of only things I love. So that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on my next one. Bye bye!